Humble yourselves, we pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the gift of life. We thank you for the gift of knowledge, for the gift of wisdom, for the gift of everything, God, you have given us today. As God, we are going to be learning our math lesson. May you, God, bless us. May you, God, protect us. May you, God, help us to understand whatever the teacher is going to teach us. In Jesus' name, I prayed and believed. Amen.
Amen. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for the prayer. Uh, Today, we are going to continue with our trigonometric equations. And today, allow me that we are going to start with a scenario that we are going to build up from. Now, I'm going to ask you to read through and then we start. So read through and then we start. Now, as we read through the scenario, I want to bring to your attention that application of what you have already learned will continue to apply in these topics. You are going to find that since you have already learned about equations, you are going to find that ideas of equations are going to be coming back. You are going to find that ideas concerning how to solve simultaneous equations and the rest of that are coming back here. So that means that you need to be well conversant with the knowledge you keep acquiring from other what? From other topics. So let's read through and then we are going to start. Okay. Now they have given us a model of the equation and the model of the equation is here. This is the model they have given us and they want us to first obtain the value of A and the value of B. They have given us the hours. They have given us the 2 hour. They have given us the 8 hour. So what does it mean? That in order for us to be able to obtain the value of A and B, we are going to use the initial hours that have been given to us. So you are going to allow me now to go to another slide and then we start breaking our item. Now, when you look at our item, they have given us our model for H and H has been given as A plus B sine of 30 of t but of degrees. Now we are going to break and we are going to say that at time t equals to 2 hours. What was our h? What was the height? That our h was 9.5 meters. Those who have been to the oceans, you know that the levels of water always change depending on the time of the day. Yes, that one you need to be well, you must be informed about it. So we shall have our h plus a plus b sine of 30t degrees. Now we substitute. Where there is t, we shall put 2. Where there is h, we put 9.5. So we are going to have 9.5 equals to a plus your b sine of 30 times our t, which is 2. So here we shall end up with 9.5 equals to a plus b sine of 60. Now, at the start of trigonometry, we learned about special angles and we said that sine of 60 is one of those special angles. Now, you have to remember from your special angles, we had those special triangles that when I have 60, here I have root 3, I'll have 2 and I'll have 1. That means that when you find sine 60, you are going to instead come and say sine 60 is opposite out of hypotenuse. So where there is sine 60, we shall substitute with root 3 out of 2. So that means that this equation is going to be 9.5 equaling to a plus b times root 3 out of 2. Now, this one, we can make it a good spontaneous equation or a good equation by multiplying through by 2. but we can as well first end here. But if we want, we can make it better by multiplying by 2. So when we multiply through by 2, it means we shall have 9.5 times 2 equals to a times 2, then plus b root 3 out of 2 times the 2. So this 2 and this one will cancel, and therefore we are going to form our first equation as 19 equaling to 2a, then plus root b root of 3. This is going to be our first equation. Now, after obtaining the first equation, we go to the second condition. It told us that at 8, when the t was equal to 8 hours, what was our height? That our height for that case was 3.50 meters. So we are going now to come and say that now we shall have our h equaling to a plus b sine of 30t, everything into degrees. Now where there is h, we put 3.5. So we shall say 3.5 equaling to a plus b sine of 30 times the 8 degrees. So here we shall have 3.5 equaling to a plus b. Then you multiply. What is 30 times 8? That this is sine of 240 degrees. Now, this is where still the understanding will come in. Remember, when we are looking at trigonometry, sine of 240, what is it equivalent to? Now, you need to remember your quadrants. That sine of 240, or where does 240, what does 240 represent? This is 0, this is 18, sorry, this is 0, this is 90, and here understand, this is 180, and this is 270. Now, if you are looking for 240, 240 is going to be between 180 and 270. So mean that you are going to move up to somewhere here. So this is where we are going to have 240 degrees. Now, always we have kept saying that your angle, your reference angle must be close to the x-axis here. Now, members, you need now to look out for the angle at this point here. Members, you tell me, which angle do we have here as our reference angle in that quadrant? Put it in the chat quickly. Place it in the chat. Very good. So members are getting here as 60 degrees. Very good. Now, the next question you are going to ask yourself, that now, what does it, in this quadrant, what is the sign of sine? That in this quadrant, it means that sine is negative. What does it mean? Here it will mean that your sine is going to be negative in that quadrant. So it means that your sine of 240 is the same thing, like, since sine is negative, it's going to be negative of sine of 60. That sine of 240, since it lies here, it is the same as negative, because in this quadrant, sine is negative of sine of 60. What will it mean? It means we shall have negative sine of 60. We have already obtained it as 3 out of 2. Now, where there is sine of 240, we are going to put negative root 3 out of 2. Members, are we on the same page? Kindly let me know. Are we on the same page? Mark says yes. Yes. Okay. Members are saying we are on the same page. So now we are going to, in case you have a question, may I take on one question? The first person to raise up the hand is the person I'm taking on. Okay. I think we are going to continue. So and now I'm going to remove whatever thing I've written, and I'm going now to say that here we shall have 3.5 equals to a now plus b times negative root 3 out of 2, which now we can write as 3.5 equaling to a minus b root of 3 out of 2. Now we can remove our 2 here by multiplying by 2, multiplying by 2, multiplying by 2. So what shall we end up with? We shall have our 3.5 times 2 which will end up giving us 7 equaling to 2a, then minus b root of 3. And this is going to be your second equation. Now, these two equations you have are the ones that we are going to solve simultaneously. So we shall say that now solving equation 1 and 2. So I'm going to start from down here, and I'll bring my first equation as 19 equals to 2a plus b root of 3. And then I have 7 equaling to 2a minus b root of 3. Now, since you notice that 2a and 2a are the same, they have the same signs, the easiest thing I can do is to subtract the two equations. So I'm going to eliminate. So then I'll have my 19 minus 7, which is equal to 12, equaling to 2a minus 2a is 0. Then I'll have my b root of 3 minus b root of 3. So you end up with 12 equaling to, remember here, you end up with a plus. So we shall have 2b root of 3. So we shall divide by 2, and you end up with 6 equals to b root of 3. And since I want b, I'll have here divide by, oh, yes, divide by root 3, divide by root of 3. So that means that our b will equal to 6 out of root of 3. But like I've told you always, that it is always bad to leave a root in your answer. So that means we are going to work it out by rationalizing. So that means we shall say 6 root of 3 times root of 3 times root of 3. So root of 3 times root of 3, we shall end up with 3. So by 3, 1, by 3, 2. So that means that your b is going to be 2 root of 3. Now, after obtaining your b, we can go on and get our a. Now, for the case of our a, allow me to say that a, since you have 19, is equal to 2a plus b root of 3, and I have 7 is equal to 2a minus b root of 3. Since b root 3, negative b to root 3 are the same, to eliminate them, I'll add. So once I add, I'll have 19 plus 7, 19 plus 7, which is 26, equals to 2a plus 2a, which is 4a. So 26 divided by 4, you end up with your answer 6.5. So that is going to be our a. So our a is going to be 6.5. So those are my values of a and my values of b. Eh, on the subtraction here, when I subtract, I have 19 minus 7. Then I'll have 2a minus 2a. Then I have b root of 3 minus b root of 3. But here, when I have b minus, when I have b minus, b root of 3 minus b root of 3. Minus and a minus gives us a plus. So we get b root of 3 plus b root of 3. But root 3 and root 3 are the same. So you can factor it out such that you remain with inside here b plus b. b plus b is 2b. Then you bring back the root of 3. So that's how we get it. Okay, so let me pick your hand. Yes, Poloman.
Morning, teacher.
Morning.
Teacher, you are going too fast, and I'm requesting you display the scenario.
I display that?
The question.
Okay, I'm going to display it again.
And you're also going too fast, teacher.
Okay, which part didn't you understand?
I had literally just joined.
Oh, then that is where the problem is. Yeah. So I'm going to display the scenario for those who have not taken a screenshot. So at the end of the day, when we go back to the scenario, they wanted you to obtain the value of A and the values of B. And they wanted you to obtain the exact values. So that means that you'll conclude and say that the value of A is 6.5 and the value of B is the value we have obtained, which is 2 root of 3. But since everything was given in meters, it means that also since you note that your height here is given in meters, meaning that whatever unit we have here is also going to be in what? In meters. So your A and B are going to be in meters. So here you will say that the value of A is B root 3 and this in meters. Okay. So I think we do not have the questions. We are going to continue now with part B. Now, when you look at part B requested that it said that determine the first time after midnight when the height of the tide is 5 meters. Determine the first time after midnight when the height of the tide is 5 meters. Now, what are you going to do? It means that they have told that the height is 5 meters here. So we are going to come here on our second slide and say that our height h is given by a plus b sine of 30 t degrees. What does it mean? Now, since we have already obtained the value of a, as the value of a was we got 6.5. I will put here 6.5. The value of B, we have already obtained it as a 2 root of 3 sine of 30 t degrees. Now they're asking, what is the time? What is this t when our height is 5 meters? So I'm going to come here and I say, now when h is 5, I'll have 6.5 plus 2 root of 3 sine of 30t, everything into degrees. Now we are going to collect like terms, so we shall have 5 minus 6.5 equaling to 2 root of 3 sine of 30t degrees. Now you're going to ask yourself, what is 5 minus 6.5? That is negative 1.5 equaling to 2 root of 3 sine of 30t degrees. But what are we interested in? We are interested in finding t. So meaning that you are going to make sine 30 the subject of the formula. So we shall divide this side by 2 root of 3, divide this side by 2 root of 3. So we shall end up with negative 1.5 out of 2 root of 3 is equal to sine of 30t. Now, remember this is an angle. The whole of this is an angle. And when you look at the ratio we have here, you note that the ratio is negative. Now you have to go back and understand in which quadrant is sine negative. That is going to be important. That I'll come back here and I know that in my quadrant, my sine is going to be negative in this quadrant here and in this quadrant here. So whatever angle I'm going to get for my reference is going to be lying here. So now I'm going to come here and I say now I'll have 30t is equal to sine inverse of 1.5 out of 2 root of 3. Now may I ask each one of us to place the calc and tell us which reference angle are you getting? Which reference angle are you coming up with? Place it in the chat what you are coming up with. Place in the chat the reference angle you are coming up with. Okay, from the chat, Mark is getting 25.66, 25.7, 25.7, 25.6. Okay, so here I'm going to come and I say this is 25.6. Oh, 0.7 I think is the best because I'm seeing 6, 5, 8. So this one, it means it can be 25.7 degrees. That means that here you have 25.7. The same thing here, you have 25.7. Now, we are going to get our angles. So that means we are going to come here and we say that, sorry, we are going to come here and we say that now our 30t is equal to, we start getting the angles. Remember we said we start from here. Now we move the first time. Members, what is that first angle you have obtained? Put it in the chat now. What is that first angle you have obtained? Get the first angle. Which angle is that you have obtained? Mark is getting 205.7. Very good. Chisache the same. So the first angle we have obtained is 205.7. Very good. Can we get the second angle? I'll come like this up to when I reach here. Get the second angle. Get the second angle now. We are getting the second angle. Get the second angle. Members are getting 334. Jeremy, Joshua, Josephine, NMV, okay, Mark, Adi, good. That is what they are getting. Very good. So we have obtained our second angle as 4.3 degrees. Now, in order for us to get the time, we are going to divide. So we shall say now 30t is equal to 25.7 degrees. So divide by 30, divide by 30. So that means that your time, when you get 205.7, divide by 30, you end up with 6.85 667, and which since which you can write in accurate, in case you are writing, it can be 257 out of 300. You can write it like that. Then when I'm getting the other time, is going to be 30t is equal to 334.3. So when you divide by 30, this side you get your t, 334.3 divided by 30. So you end up with something like 11.1433. Now, you go back to your scenario. These are the two times. So you are going to allow me to use these ones in points. The first time is 11.143 and the second time is 6.85667. And these are hours. Hours, something like that. Now you go back to the item. What did the item require me to do? You have to understand they told that the first time after midnight, when the height of the tide is 50 meters. Now, when you look at our answers that we are getting, what time are you going to take that comes immediately after midnight? Place your answer in the chat. What time comes immediately after midnight? Do you know midnight? So which one are we going to take? Very good. People are saying 6. 6. 6, right? So that means that our answer is going to be 6. Now, how are we going to write? Remember, these are hours. So that means that we are going to write here, when we are reporting our time, we cannot say 6.8567 hours. So we are going to say, we are going to convert the 0.85667 hours to the units that are easy to understand. Let me hope now that is okay. So you don't just say like that. You can convert those ones that come after 2 minutes. So we are going to now to convert. You know very well that in 1 hour you have 60 minutes. Now, you having 6.85667 hours. It means that you have 6 hour plus the 0.85667 minute. These ones hours here. Now, we are going to convert these ones here to minutes. Members, can you first convert them and tell us how many minutes are those? Convert. You need to know how to convert 0.85667 hours to minutes. What are you going to do? Convert, and we see. Remember, 1 hour has 60 minutes. Then you are going to ask yourself, what about 0.85667? How many minutes are there? Very good. Good. So that means we shall get the 6 hour plus our 0.85667 times the 60. So members, you note that you have 60 hours, then plus 51. We shall approximate 51.4 is approximate 51. So here that means that we shall have 6 hours and 52 minutes. So we shall say this is 51. Why am I writing? So we shall have 61 and 51 minutes. So that means that here in your conclusion, you are going to come and say that the first time after midnight, when the height of the tide is 5 meters, is 6 hours. You check how they wrote their hours in the scenario. So that means you can write 06.51. So that's how you're going to write your time. Members, are we on the same page? Are we on the same page? Have we understood? Our team says, yeah. Mark, yes. Josephine, yes. Okay. Kevin, yeah. Okay. So, take, Paul, Milton, Bate. Okay. Perfect. So, that is how you write. The moment you meet a scenario, that's how you can attempt it. I call okay. And then do not forget always to respond. Always respond to the item. Okay, perfect. Allow me, I'm going to first pause the sharing for 1 minute, and then I'm going to pause it for 1 minute, and then I get back. Don't worry, I'm still on. Okay. Okay. I'm getting back. Don't worry, I'm still on. I just want us to have another scenario. Okay, just a minute. Okay. Okay. Now we are going to have another, yeah. So allow me to share again. Okay. So members, I saw that someone wanted to see the answers here. Okay, I've displayed Gertrude. Okay, so I'm going to continue and we go in for another scenario. So I'm going to ask you still to first read through the scenario. Okay. Now, as we approach trigonometry, I want to bring to your attention that when you have solar panels, those panels you have at school, at home, the amount of power, the kind of energy they give out will always depend on the angle of inclination, like the angle of tilt, the angle at which those panels are tilted. But whenever they are tilting those angles, they are tilting the solar panels, there is a mathematical concept we bring in. It has a concept in trigonometry, but also when you reach vectors, there is a component we call the dot product. So you must always ensure that the angle at which that panel is tilted, it is in the same line of sight with the sun rays. That's when it will give you the maximum power. So here we are only going to look at those some of the possible angles, but at a later time when we study maximum and minimum, another part can come in to determine like the maximum angle at which it must be pulled such that the sunlight is being maximized. Now, they are telling us to support the engineer in determining the possible angles of incidence that the sunlight would produce the maximum output, because they noticed that at one point during that day they had it as 16. So we have our equation that has been modeled, which is P equals to 12 plus 8 sine of theta minus 4 sine squared theta. Now we are going to start. Now, as we start, I want to bring to your attention that you have noticed that our P is 16. So we are going to say that when our power is equal to 16, what do we have? So we shall say that P is equal to 12 plus 8 sine of theta minus 4 sine squared theta. That means that where there is power, we shall substitute with 16. So we shall say now 16 will equal to 12 plus 8 sine of theta minus 4 sine squared theta. Now, before you do anything, always ensure that you have collected the like terms. So we are going to collect like terms. So we shall say 16 minus 12 will equal to 8 sine of theta minus the 4 sine squared theta. Then now you work it out. What is 16 minus 12? That the answer is 4. So you can have 4 equaling to 8 sine of theta minus 4 sine squared theta. Then at this point, you can collect like terms. But in case you wish, when you look at the values you have, you notice you have 4, 8, 4. You can decide to divide throughout by 4, by 4, by 4. That is acceptable. Such that by 4, by 4, you end up with a 1. Equaling by 4, 1 by 4, you get a 2 sine theta. And here you end up with sine squared theta. But in case you don't want, it is also not penalized, you can leave it. Then here we are going to collect like terms. We say the moment you see a squared somewhere, then you need to remember your idea of quadratic equations. So when I collect like terms, I'll end up with sine squared theta minus 2 sine of theta plus a 1 is equal to 0. Now, that is the equation. So this is what we looked at yesterday. So can I have someone to take us through from this point? Okay. Yes, Joshua.
Then from there, we formed a quadratic equation.
Okay.
So one thing I can do to make it easy, I can let sine theta to be a letter.
Okay.
So let sine theta is equal to m. So that means my equation will be m squared minus 2m plus 1 is equal to 0. So from there, I solve the quadratic equation. So let us use bulldozer. So the bulldozer says that states that m is equal to negative b plus or minus root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So from there, I substitute negative, this negative, open brackets, negative 2 plus or minus root negative 2 squared minus 4 times 1 times 1 over 2 times 1. Now, after substituting by pressing the calculator, I get my m. So I thought you're using a calculator.
Oh, so you don't continue from here for you?
No, from there, like they told me that after substitution, it already shows that you know how to use the bulldozer. So from there, you can use the calculator.
Now, Joshua, take us from
What?
here because that is risky. Number one, for cases where you'll meet that you don't get the exact value, the calculator will not save you.
Okay.
And always you show everything. Don't just go to the calculator. Because
Okay.
there are cases where they will need you to leave your answer in root form. The
Mm.
calculator will give you points. So you need to know how to continue from here. So take us again. Continue.
Okay, so negative 2 squared is 4 minus 4 over 2. So that is going to be 4 plus or minus root 1. I mean root 0, which is a 0 over 2. So that is 4 out of 2. So m is equal to 2. Yeah. Yeah, that is it.
Look at it again. Is there any error or everything is correct?
There is an error. Yeah,
Okay.
there.
Not so?
That is, yeah, that is
Okay,
2.
so what are we supposed to have here?
2.
And then here,
2.
and then here.
2. So our
Okay,
m is
then
1.
m is 1. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, continue.
So if m is 1, that means m is equal to sine theta. So sine theta is equal to 1.
Okay.
Now from there, we get our first quadrant angle, which is theta is equal to sine inverse of 1. So our first quadrant angle is 90 degrees. So from there, we go back to our quadrants and we locate where we have sine positive, since we are having sine theta is equal to 1. So sine is positive in the first quadrant and the second quadrant. So in the first quadrant, the angle will be 90. And then even the second quadrant, the angle is 90.
Okay.
That means our theta is equal to 90
90. Okay.
degrees.
Okay. Good. Okay. So members, that's how you obtain. But he has stopped at the angle equals to 90. But they could as well, because here, when you read through, they wanted him to determine the possible angle of instead during one complete what? One complete cycle. So that means for one complete cycle, 90 is the only angle. However, if they had told her that for two complete cycles, then it means that this person would have come one and then would have obtained the second angle. So now the question should always guide you. So instead of them telling you that your angle should be between 0, let's say equal to x, let's say equal to 90, something like this, they have instead given you that your angle should be within the first one cycle. So you need to know that within the one first cycle, that means it's between 0 and 360 degrees. Now you need to take to understand the wording that if they say this, then that is how you go for it. Yes, if you want, you can use completing squares, Jeremy. Yeah, whatever thing you get, it is okay. Yeah, yes, whatever thing you do, it is okay. Let me pick a hand. Yes, Adley.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
All the way from his the first step, 4 is equals to 8 sine theta minus 4 sine squared theta. Once you move the 1 from the left-hand side to the right-hand side, it becomes a negative, and he made it a positive. So this whole working could potentially be wrong.
Okay, now, Adeline.
Yes,
Adeline,
sir.
uh-huh.
Yes.
Take for me this negative for this side. Oh, no, where should we start from? Okay, from here, should we start from here?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have 2 sine theta minus sine squared theta. Adeline, take for me this one, this side. What shall we have?
1 plus sine squared theta
Is equal to?
is equals to 2 sine theta.
Okay, Adeline, take the 2 sine theta this side. What shall we have?
1 plus sine squared theta minus 2 sine theta.
Equals to?
0.
Can we arrange it better?
Okay. I kind of see what he did. But if you take the 1 and make it negative, would you still
Adeline, you can do that again. Take for us the one this side. What shall we have? 2 sine theta minus sine squared theta minus.
minus 1?
Now, Adeline, this equation again, you can transform it. If you divide through by -1, you'll get the same thing. But even if you work it out the way it is here, let me just write it here. Even if you work it out the way it is, you'll come up with the same thing. It doesn't matter. But the only thing that always disturbs is that, let me say, I'm going to write it like this. Negative sine squared theta plus 2 sine theta. I want to put it in a good quadratic equation. Are you seeing that?
Yes.
So you tell us, in case you let here, it will be negative m squared plus 2m minus 1 is equal to 0. Did you have something like that?
Yes.
So you solve for us. How did you solve? Which method did you use?
I used factorization.
You tell us, what is your sum?
My sum is positive 2.
What is your product?
Um, Product.
Yes? What is your product?
I don't know. I feel like, okay, I'm not exactly understood, but then I do it. Is a product, is it 1?
How are you getting 1?
Okay. You have the -1 on the m squared and the -1.
So you are getting A times C. That is the product.
Okay.
So what does it mean? It means that here, Adeline, you are going to say negative m squared plus m minus 1 is equal to 0. True?
Yes.
So you factor for us. What did you factor here?
Um, m, no, m into negative m plus 1.
Then here,
Oh, then negative. No, it's 1. Or is it no? It's negative 1 into negative m plus 1. Is equals to then m minus 1 times negative m plus 1, which is equals to 0. So either m minus 1 is 0 or negative m plus 1 is 0. So m is equals to 1 or m is equals to negative 1. Then since sine theta is equals to m, then
Anyone who has notes, there is a mistake somewhere. I want someone who can check it out. Okay, continue.
so sine theta is equals to 1.
Okay. So they are going to correct you. Jeremy, there is something. There is a mistake you have made. Jeremy. Jeremy. Okay. Jeremy is not talking. Victor.
There where there is negative m plus 1 equals to 0.
Mm-hmm.
Here down, so you had to divide negative 1, divide by negative 1. Here where there is negative m plus 1 equals to 0.
Here.
Not down at the end.
Oh, here.
Yes.
Okay.
Divide
Perfect.
by negative 1. Divide by negative 1, then you have your m equals to 1.
Thank you. Adeline,
Yes.
have you seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but are you not seeing that the answers are the same?
Yes.
Yeah. So whatever approach you use, you get the same answer.
Right.
Hope
Thank
that
you.
is okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Waiting. Let me hope those who had similar questions, it has been answered. Jeremy, is it a question? Okay.
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes.
For the angle, you only say that we have 90, but if it's one complete cycle, then isn't also the second quadrant considered?
Now, when you look at the second quadrant, when you
Yes.
look at the second quadrant here, remember when you are measuring your angles, you start from the x-axis here. Are you not seeing?
Yeah.
So when you
Yes.
measure 90, are you noticing that 90 comes up to here?
Yes.
So that means that also that 90 is here.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, teacher, even though it is like on the negative x-axis, we still begin from the x-axis.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Emma? Emma?
I'm asking
Oh.
like, what if I leave the
What
negative?
if?
I eliminate the negative throughout.
What if you?
Eliminate the negative throughout.
It is okay. You get the same answer. If you eliminate the negative, you'll come up with this. Then lastly, Shabela. Shabera. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's proceed. Now, that's how you can approach these scenarios in case you meet. But you note that they require the testing of your knowledge for the foundation. Okay, now we are going to proceed, and don't forget here, you'll conclude that the possible angle of incidence for sunlight that would produce this amount is 90 degrees. So now let us proceed, and now still we are looking at solving quadratic equations. That's what we are going to look at, but now we are going to dig deeper into what if we don't have sine, we don't have the cos. So we are going to look at this. So we are continuing with our activity, but we are looking at mainly solving quadratic solving. So I'm going to say solve solve for y. Solve for y given tan for y equaling to 6 plus the tan squared y for 0 less or equal to y less or equal to 360 degrees. Now, when you look at the equation that has been given to us, for us to be able to solve, you are going to first convert it into a simpler equation. Whenever you find that there are even powers, then you need to remember and ask yourself, what is the easiest that I can go through? So we are going to come again. So we are going to say that here, since we have been letting all the time, now here you need to be very strategic that what is it that I'm going to be letting something equal to? Members in the chat, can we first try? For this particular case, what do you think you are going to let something equal to? What do you think we are going to let that value equal to? Someone, Mark is saying t tan squared to be x. Very good. So here, instead, we are going to say that let our tan squared of y equal to x. That's what Mark has suggested. Now, you need to remember that tan power 4 is the same thing as writing tan squared of y, everything squared, equaling to 6 plus tan squared of y. So where there is tan squared x, we shall put x. So we shall come here and say, this is x squared equals to 6 plus our x. Okay, let me first pick on, yes, Shia? Shia?
Morning, sir.
Morning.
Yes, so I was asking on the previous question why we choose 90 degrees. Why not 180?
Like, remember, when you place, we get the angle. For you, when you get here, the 90 degrees, when you start moving, remember, this 90 is the reference angle. So when you start moving like this, the angle we get is 90. When we move from the positive x-axis, the angle we got is 90. So whatever angle you get here, for you once you place it, you must be able to get 1. So you place here, you want 8. If you get 1, then it means it is correct, but it will not be 1. All
Okay,
right.
sir, thank you.
Okay. Poloman, hope the question is on this.
Yes, Cha, the question is on that. So, Cha, here we let tan squared y be x. What if I don't want to let? What do I do?
Then you use this approach I showed you yesterday. You solve it quadratically.
Oh,
Hey,
okay.
yeah. Okay. Okay, now we are going to solve this. So we form our quadratic equation. So here we shall say x squared minus x minus 6 is equal to 0. Now once you reach here, use any approach of your choice. You can say, let me use bulldozer, let me use any method of your choice. Yes, can everyone now solve? Use any approach of your choice. Use any approach of your choice. People want bulldozer. It is okay, but like I've said, I want you to learn factorization as well. So you are going to allow me that I'll use factorization for this case. You need to first obtain what is your sum, that it is -1. What is your product, that it is -6. We say that product is A times C. Your sum is always your B. So you look out for two numbers, you multiply, you get what? 6. You add them, you get, so that is, you add them, you get -1. So that is -3 and 2. So we shall come here and say x squared minus 3x plus 2x minus 6 equals to 0. So that means we shall have x into x minus 3, then plus 2 into x minus 3 equals to 0. And therefore we have x minus 3 and we have x plus 2 equals to 0. So what does it mean? It means that your x minus 3 is equal to 0, x is equal to 3. Or x plus 2 is equal to 0, x is equal to -2. Members, are we still on the same page? Thank you. Okay, Anita says yes. Okay, now after getting this, come back. Remember you said that your tan squared of y was equal to x. So you substitute in for your x. So we have tan squared of y is equal to 3. Now to remove this squared, you get the root. So we shall have a root, get a root. That means that tan of y is equal to root of 3. Now, after getting the root of 3, ask yourself, in which quadrant is tan positive? Then I'm going to come up with a simple sketch that tan is positive in the first and in the third. So that means I'm going to get my reference angle here, and I'll have my reference angle in this quadrant. So we get the angle, the first reference angle, tan inverse of root of 3. So you place your calc that what is my tan inverse of root of 3. That the answer here is 60 degrees. Meaning that your reference angle here is 60 and in this quadrant is 60. So now you start getting the values of y. So when you move the first time, you are getting 60 degrees. Move again. When I move the second time, like this, I'm going to get that angle. Members, can you get that angle? Which angle do you get there? Which is the second angle you are coming up with? People are getting 240 degrees. Okay, good. Then we are going to ask ourselves, this is the first time, but I want to bring to your attention that whenever we get a square root, we get two answers. So here, allow me also to include also the negative one, because you get two answers, a positive and a negative. Now, when you try to move again, you notice that the angle you are going to get is going to be above 60. So that one, we shall eliminate it. Now, we go to the second part. The second part, that's when our tan of y is equal to negative root of 3. Now, the question is, in which quadrant is tan negative? So you come back here and know that tan is negative in this quadrant and in this what? Quadrant. So that means that this is going to be your reference angle and this is going to be your reference angle. So you get your angle. So it will be tan inverse of root of 3, which is 60 degrees. So we are going to have 60 here. We are going to have 60 here. Then we are going to move. So when I am moving, I will start up to here. Members, which angle do we get there? Get that angle. Get that angle. 120. Very good. So someone has told us that they have 120. So I'm going to add here 120 degrees. Move the second time again up to here. Get that angle as well. Which is 300. So here we are going to have 300 degrees. So at the end of the day, these are the angles we can obtain. Now, when you look at the second one, when x was equal to -2, you ask yourself, what is tan squared of y of -2? Remember, when you take a root, you can never have a root of -2. So that means -2 is eliminated completely because you can't have a negative of a root. Where does the negative root 3 come from? Like whenever you get a square root of 4 and you get a square root like this, you can either get a positive or negative 2. Because you know very well that x squared equals to 4. What does it mean? It means that there are values which when you square you get 4. Take an example. When I square 2, I will get 4. When I square -2, I also get a 4. So that's why we take always a positive and negative. Because once you square negative, you get a positive 4. Once you square positive 2, you get still a 4. That's where this negative is coming from. That's why whenever you get a root, you can have a positive or negative. So never forget it. At this level now, because now imagine if someone had only considered the positive, he would have obtained only 2 angles. So you would have missed out these 2 angles here. Okay. Hope now that is understood. Why don't we go in the negative direction? I've said negative direction comes because of the domain we have. If our domain had a negative, let me say negative 360, then that's when we would have gone in the negative direction. Negative show us the direction of the angle. But these negatives on the ratio show us the quadrants where our angle lies. So there is a difference between tan of -60. Tan of -60 is where we turn in the negative direction. But tan of 60, we turn in the positive. So there is a difference between when tan is equal to -60 and when tan of an angle is equal to negative. This one shows us the quadrant. The angle shows us how we must turn. So they are totally different concepts. Okay, Marie. So don't forget to arrange your angles in the correct order. So you start with 60, 120, 240, and then 300. Yes, Marie.
Teacher, pardon why we don't use the -2, and is it or a must
The negative?
to include the -2?
Marie, imagine you have x squared is equal to -4. What answer do you get?
I get a negative a 2.
You place it in your calc and you tell me what you get. You get the root and tell me what you get in your calc.
Root of negative. I get math error.
So now that is why we don't get it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it a must to include the root of 3?
The root of?
-3.
Yes, because like I've said that here, once you get a root, you get a positive or negative. Don't use points because you want to be accurate. That's why you start the sides. And that's why when we are starting this topic, we looked at special angles. That means when you meet root 3, it is going to be somewhere among the special angles.
All right.
Okay. But this one, you'll cover something related to how we get this when you reach complex numbers. That's when you will study about roots. In other words, this is going to be a complex root, which will apply when we reach complex numbers. Yes, Baby Angel.
Good morning, Master.
Morning.
Master, I'm requesting for your pardon. From here, tan squared y equals to x.
Where?
From here, where we have tan squared y equals to x.
A.
From
Now,
here,
are you
where?
seeing here?
Yes.
Yeah, now, like when you look at what has been given to us, you notice that it is tan power 4. Now, you need to know that, like having x power 4. X power 4 means x squared, but everything squared. Or you can say means x squared times x squared. Now,
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
where the tan is coming from. That tan power 4 is the same as tan squared times tan squared of y.
Yes.
Now, since you notice that here you have squares, then it means that the best way to relate is using tan squared as your thing, such that you can compress it into an easy to solve quadratic equation.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it fine?
Okay, master.
Okay.
But master,
Yes.
why do we put it under square root?
Because like when you remain with this, Babi, if you get
Yes.
x squared is equal to 4, are you seeing?
Yes.
How do you get the value of x?
By squaring.
By squaring. So that's why we do so.
Okay, master. Thank you.
Okay. Poloman?
Master, mine is not about this. On your YouTube channel, do you have a topic about complex numbers?
You have not yet reached complex numbers. So
Master, they
complex
told us
numbers
to
is
do
for senior
research.
6.
They told us to do research, Master.
Oh, okay, not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
Okay. Betty? Bate? Okay. I'm failing to get Bate. Me? And lastly, Chris? Okay. We are going to continue. I've failed to get
Master,
them. Yes.
I was requesting to pardon how to you got the value of x after getting 60.
After getting
60 here, y is equal to 60. Then here where there's negative 2, how do you get it?
negative?
2.
No, negative 2 came from here. When you solve this quadratic equation, you say x plus 2 is equal to 0. Take that to this side, and you have 2 minus 2 is equal to 0 minus 2. So that's where the negative 2 was coming from.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay, so let's continue. Yeah, now I want you always to be very, very careful. Yeah, so you need to read the question, understand, and then you see what does it demand you to do. Yeah, so it is very important. That's why we have delayed here such that you can be able to understand. However much, even if it is twisted left, right, as long as you know how to deal with it. Yeah, it's going to be very important. Okay, let us look at another one. Still, we are solving, but this time round, allow me to bring in areas of cosec squared theta equaling to 3 plus the cot of theta. Allow me to bring in that. Yeah. Now, when you look at what we have, like I have always told you, that always first take everything. For this time round, allow me to let you know that we are going to deal with negative 180 less than or equal to theta less than or equal to less than or equal to 360 degrees. Now, the first thing you have to do is to remember the identities. We have to remember the what? The identities. Now, there is an identity we looked at, but we said that all identities are going to come from sine squared theta plus cos squared theta is equal to 1. Now, you ask yourself, how is cosec and cot related? Which trigonometric ratio identity can relate the two? Then you say, what can I use? How do I get cosec? How do I get this? Okay, I don't know whether Emulot you want to tell us the identity. Okay, so you notice that for this one, if I divide through by sine squared theta, I divide by sine squared theta, I divide by sine squared what? Theta. Sine squared theta out of this is 1. Cos out of sine is what? Cot squared theta. 1 out of sine is cosec squared theta. Now, you notice that this is the identity we are going to use. In other words, where there is cosec, we are going to write it in terms of cot, such that we can be able to solve. So, where there is cosec, we are going to replace with cot. 1 plus cot squared theta. So members, you're going to allow me to say that now we shall have 1 plus cot squared of theta is equal to 3 plus cot of theta. Because we said that in order for you to be able to solve, always it is better you write in one form. In case this cot, you write in cot. In case this cosec, you write in terms of cosec. But this one with cosec, with the squared, it is always easier to be transformed compared to the one without it. So at this point here, we are going to first collect the like terms. So I'm going to have cot squared theta minus cot of theta. Then I bring the 3 this side, and we shall have 1 minus 3 is equal to 0. So where we shall have cot squared theta minus cot of theta, then 1 minus 3 is negative 2 is equal to 0. Then at this point, you can now let. You can say that now let my cot of theta equals to any letter of your choice. Let me say m. Therefore, you say m squared minus m minus 2 is equal to 0. But in case you don't want to let, for you can also continue and say, me, I don't want to let. I want to deal with it the way it is. Now, I'm going to use that approach now for now. Now, if you are taking that approach without letting, for you when you reach here, under cot squared theta minus cot theta minus 2 is equal to 0. Read out what is the coefficient for A is 1. What is the coefficient for B? Negative 1. What is the coefficient for C is negative 2. You get what is your sum. That my sum is negative 1. What is the product? The product is negative 2. So I look out for two numbers, which when I add, I get negative 1. I multiply, I get negative 2. And when you look at those two numbers, you can look at 1, you can look at negative 2, and you look at 1 as the numbers. So that means that in this position where you have the negative code, that's where you're going to place your negative 2 and 1. So that means that I will come and I write this as cot squared theta minus. I can start with the minus or I can start with the plus, no problem. So I can say this is cot theta minus 2 cot of theta minus 2 is equal to 0. Now those who are going directly, that's how you do it. As long as you are able to identify the sum and the product. Now at this point, you just factorize that cot and cot, this and this side. So now I'm going to factorize out cot of theta into cot of theta plus the 1 minus 2. I'll have cot of theta plus the 1 is equal to 0. And therefore you have your cot theta minus 2, and then you'll have your cot of theta plus 1 is equal to 0. Members, are we on the same page? Okay, members are saying yes. In case you are here, I'm using the direct method, but you can decide for you to use this manual one. You can decide to use this manual one. Anita, I'm not using completing squares. I'm using factorization. What matters is under factorization, you need to identify these two things. What you add and what you subtract. What your sum is and what your product is. because it is what is going to replace here. When you look at negative cot theta, you notice that it is the same thing as having cot theta minus 2 cot of theta. Because cot theta minus 2 cot theta is negative cot theta. Now, where there is negative cot theta is where we replace with this. Now, that's what we are doing. That where there is negative cot theta in your equation, here we are going to replace with cot theta minus 2 cot theta. Yeah, can you ask? I'm failing to get where you are getting lost from. Because I know we have reached here very well. Now, at this point, I've said there are very many approaches, but this time around, I want to show you in case you are going directly. Yes, Jonah?
Yes, good morning, teacher.
Morning.
Like for I have one question. When I reach
Okay.
this, like I'm having this quadratic equation.
Hmm.
You find some people have already said that maybe, like not to waste a lot of time, that you can just substitute in the quadratic formula and you press the calculator. Is it okay?
I will say it is not okay. Show how you are coming up with something.
Okay, teacher.
Show how you are coming up with something. That is a
Thank
shortcut. But in case now they allocate marks for you solving, it means you would have missed out.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. Genesis,
Good morning, sir.
morning.
Teacher, I'm requesting for a pardon on that part of getting the sum and the product.
Okay, now Genesis. Remember, this is our quadratic equation, right?
Yes, teacher.
Uh-huh. Genesis, what is your A from that quadratic?
My A is okay. I use numbers or these letters given.
Use the letters here.
My A is m squared.
Remember, your quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So read for me the
Yes.
coefficients of a, b, and c.
Okay, then 1,
What is your b?
-1,
And then c?
-1.
Negative. C?
Oh,
C,
that's 2.
yes.
-2.
Then to get your sum is always your b.
Yes, teacher.
Then the product is always a times c.
Okay.
So now your task is always going to be, you think quickly that what are those two numbers? When I multiply, I get -2. When I add them, I get -1. So you
Okay.
ask, you ask 1 and 2. You look at the factors of the product are the ones we usually use. The factors for the product, that 1 and 2. When I multiply 1 times 2, I get 2, but I want
2.
-1. Then you say, where should I put a negative? That may be on -2. 1 times -2 is -2. 1 plus -2 is -1. Now these are the ones you are going to use.
Okay, sir. Thank you so
Okay.
much. I've gotten it.
Okay. Hatim?
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Now, I'm inquiring on the second method, the
Hmm.
one that we have not related.
Hmm.
Our sum was -1, but when we were substituting it to the quotes,
Hmm.
my concern is on that plus sign there. Move down here. That
Okay.
plus sign.
I come back. You tell me,
Yes.
what is -m plus 2m? Which answer do you get?
-m plus
2m.
plus,
What do you get?
you get m.
What about m minus 2m? What do you get?
What about
M
m minus
minus 2.
M minus 2M,
Yeah.
you get negative M.
Now, your task always after identifying the two is to ask yourself, what are you going to replace? Are you seeing this part here? What is here? What is, just imagine x minus 2x. What do you get?
Negative X.
Which is the whole of this. Are you seeing the whole of this? Yeah, that is what we are doing. That the whole of that is being replaced by this particular thing. That the whole of this part here is the same thing with this thing here.
Okay. No, sir.
Yes.
I've understood what you've said, but my concern is on the positive sign. Like this cot squared theta plus that positive. I'm wondering how is it a plus yet our sum was -1?
No, your sum, for you, you say cot theta minus 2 cot theta. Your answer is negative cot what? Theta. True?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I've understood, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Daniela? Members, continue and be completing. Yes, Daniela?
Sure, good morning.
Morning.
I was inquiring, like, after getting the sum and the product, how did you come out with this other step, cot squared theta plus cot theta minus 2 theta minus 2 is equals to 0?
Like, do you know how to, Daniela, do you know how to solve quadratic equations? You know that part, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Daniela, let me say you have m squared minus m minus 2 is equal to 0. Now, after you identifying that the two digits, gentlemen, like, yes, like after you identifying that the two digits you are going to multiply are 1 and negative 2, your next task is always to substitute back for your sum. Where your sum is where you substitute those two digits you have obtained. Now, like here, we obtain 1 and negative 2. It means that if this is in terms of m, we shall just multiply this by m and m. Now, where there is negative m, we replace with the sum of those two digits. So we say m squared plus m minus 2m minus 2 is equal to 0.
Okay, thank you, teacher.
Yes. Now, that is what we are replacing here with.
Okay.
Okay. Poleman, and then lastly, Emily.
Teacher,
Yes.
the question was cosec squared theta plus 3 is equaling to 3 plus cot theta, right? So
Yes.
we know that we know that a cosec is 1 over sine. So why didn't we say that 1 over sine squared theta equals to 3 plus cos theta over sine theta? Why didn't we use that?
Also, that approach is okay.
Okay.
Yes, Emily?
Teacher, my question is here. After me getting my y is equal to 2 and y is equal to -1, I've come in and I've said but cot theta is equal to y. So how do I get the theta?
Okay. That's where we are starting, Emily. Now here, Emily, you have solved and you have said cot theta minus 2 is equal to 0. And you have said your cot of theta is equal to 2, right?
Yes.
Now, you need to remember that there is no any way you are going to place this on your calculator. Now, go back to the basics. You know that cot theta, what does it mean? It means the same as 1 out of
tan
theta. Now, where there is cot theta, we are going to place that. So I'm going to say this is the same as 1 out of tan of theta equaling to 2. Now, if I want to get tan theta, I can just multiply both sides by tan. So I have 1 is equal to 2 tan of theta. Meaning that my tan of theta is going to be 1 out of 2. Do you have that?
Yes.
Now, after this, you are going to ask yourself, in which quadrant is tan positive? Then you'll come here, and you say that tan is positive where? that tan is positive here and in this quadrant here. Now you first get the reference angle. So you say theta is equal to tan inverse of a half. So which answer do you get?
$26.56.
So here we shall have 26.56 degrees, and also here we are going to have 26.56 degrees. So we first get those angles. So the first angle we are going to get, we move. So your first angle is going to be 26.56 degrees. Then the second angle is going to be this angle. Which angle is that, Emily?
206.5.
206.5, eh? Okay, degrees. Now those are the two angles. Then what about in the negative quadrants? Do we have any? Are we going to get some negative angles or no?
Let me see. The first one is 153.44.
100 what?
53.44.
Now you ask yourself, when you place it, do you get positive a half?
Let me see. I get 0.49, but when I round off, it's 0.5, which is a half.
Okay, but that is negative, right? Now we
Yes.
are going to get the negative ones, eh? And now remember, when you are getting the negative angles, we said you move this side, Emily. You start from here and you move like this. Is that fine?
Yes.
So you move. Which angle are we getting there?
33.44.
Oh. Emily, you move.
Yes.
Remember, this is 0. This is 180.
Oh.
Hey.
It's 153.44.
But negative, that's what I wanted you to note. That is going to be negative 1.
153.44.
Negative 153.44 degrees. Now we are going to get another angle that is negative. So we move again. We move from here up to when we meet that angle here. So which angle do we have there?
Let me see. And negative 33.44.
Negative, eh? But members, I'm going to just write it for now, but we shall eliminate it, eh? Because when you look at it, it is beyond our domain. Is that fine?
Yes.
So this one is going to be eliminated. Okay. Is that fine now, Emily?
Thank you, teacher.
Okay. Emily, don't go away. Are you still on?
Yes.
Now you're going to take us through the second one. Cot of theta plus 1 is equal to 0. Let me put another screen. Cot of theta plus 1 is equal to 0. Emily, take us through.
Okay, teacher. That's right. I will first take the 1 to the other side to make it a negative 1.
Okay.
Then we know that cot is 1 out of tan. 1 out of tan theta is equal to negative 1. Then I multiply by tan on both sides.
Okay.
To get me theta is equal to tan minus 1. Yes. Tan inverse.
No, remember you are multiplying, right?
Yes. Yes, teacher.
What do you remain with? Go step by step. What shall
I
remain with?
negative tan.
This side remain with 1 is equal to negative tan, right?
Yes.
You want tan. So how are you going to move this negative?
I can divide by a negative on both sides.
Okay, so what shall remain with?
We shall remain with tan theta is equal to negative 1.
Okay, good.
Then I get theta is equal to tan inverse tan inverse 1, right?
Okay.
To get me 45.
What is this 45 representing?
It's representing tan in a positive quadrant.
Like your reference angle, right?
Yes.
But you remember our ratio here was negative. So which quadrants are we going to place our 45?
Our 45 is in the first quadrant.
Remember the ratio here, Emily, the ratio of tan theta was negative. Yes. So in which quadrant?
The fourth.
And which other quadrant?
The third. Tan is negative the second. In the second and the fourth quadrant.
Okay, so we shall place our 45 here, and we are going to place our 45 here. So can we get some angles? So the first one is here. Which angle is there?
It's 135, which is a negative.
135, that is 1. Then we have the second one here. Which angle is that?
315.
315. So those are the positive angles. Now let's go for the negative angles. The first one is here. Which angle is that?
The first.
Remember, whenever, Emily, we are moving in this direction, our angle is negative.
That here. Yes.
So what what will it be?
Negative 45.
Negative 45. Then can we have the second one here? Which angle is that?
Let me see. Negative 225.
Negative 225 degrees. Okay, thank you, Emily. Now, members, after obtaining all our angles, and always prove your answers, that whatever thing you have got, that tan of negative 45, you must be able to get your answer here as negative 1. For you, the moment you place it, you must be able to get that answer. That's what you always prove. Whatever angle you get, the moment you place it, it must give you this. So after everything, we shall arrange our angles for theta in the order. So we shall start with the smallest, which is negative 45 degrees. Go to the next, what was it? Then we had, now we are going to arrange it starting with negative 153. Negative 153 point, that is 0.44 degrees, followed by negative 45 degrees, followed by 26.56 degrees, followed by, I think it was 135 degrees. When you continue, we had 206.56 degrees, then followed by the 315 degrees. Now this one, we are eliminating it because it is already beyond, because they told that give it between negative 180 to 360. Negative 33, we are eliminating it because it is beyond our domain. So let me pick a hand from Poloman.
Teacher, using my method. I'm being disturbed by the cross multiplication part.
Okay, we are going to go through it. Elvis?
So, teacher, my question is there a case where you can get the angle in the right procedures, just like we've been getting the angles, and then later you find out that it does not correspond to the ratio? Is there that case? All the numbers, the angles that you get in the right procedures are always equal to the
The
ratio?
angles you get, as long as you have followed the right procedure, you'll always get the same thing.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I want to show you the second approach that Poleman is using. So Poleman, the other approach, like we had cosec squared theta was equal to 3 plus cot of theta. Now, if you want to write it in terms of sines and the rest of that, what is cosec? You know that cosec is 1 out of sine squared theta is equal to 3 plus cot is the same as cos of theta out of sine of theta. Now, when you check here, your LCM of sine squared theta and sine theta is sine squared theta. So you are going to multiply here by sine squared theta. You are going to multiply here by sine squared theta. And you are going to multiply here by sine of squared theta. Now this and this are going to cancel. So you remain this side with 1. Here you remain with 3 sine squared of theta. And now at this point here, sine is going to die and 1 sine is going to die. So what are you going to remain with? You are going to remain with plus cos of theta sine of theta. That's what you're going to remain with. Now, when you reach here, you notice that you have sine squared theta, you have sine of theta, cos of theta. Now, this kind of equation you have, it may not be as easy as you look at it. Why? Because you have cos sine theta here, you have cos and sine. And for you to be able to work it out, it is always better when everything is in one, like in one term. Now here, the first thing you can think about is that, can I write cos theta in terms of maybe sine theta, such that things go away? Then you'll come here and say that sine squared theta plus cos squared theta is equal to 1. Now what is cos? That cos squared theta is equal to 1 minus sine squared theta. Now to get cos squared theta, take a root, take a root. So meaning that your cos theta is the same as root of 1 minus sine squared of theta. Now that means that where there is cos theta, you will put this. So that means you'll have 1 is equal to 3 sine squared theta, then plus root of 1 minus sine squared theta, then times sine of theta. Then this is where you can let my sine of theta equals to maybe y. Then you say 1 is equal to 3 y squared plus root of 1 minus y squared times the y. Now, once you reach here, then you need to know how to remove the root. So that means what are you going to do? You are going to first say that this is 1 minus 3y squared is equal to 1 minus y squared. Then this side is times y. To remove this root, you have to square this side, like that. So you remain with 1 minus 3 squared. This side is squared is equal to, here you get 1 minus y squared, then here you get y squared. Then you start solving now. That's how you can go about it. Now, what do I want to bring to your attention? That always there is an easy approach that can make your work a bit much easier. So you need always to look out for that kind of identity that can solve or that can make your work much easier. And that one is key when you are making a choice on what identity, on what approach to use. Because if someone has gone in for this, you are noticing how the person will reach the answer, but it will take him some time. Hope that is okay, Poleman. So Polyman, this is the direction I expect you now to be reaching on. You have to use that approach. Okay. Hope that is okay. But members, I'm not going to continue with this, but you can continue in your free time and then check out. Hope that is fine. But I wanted to just show you how you approach that side. Okay. Are we good to continue now? Should we continue? Okay, so we are going to continue. Okay, we are going to have another one that I want us to try out. I have another one that I want us to try to try out. But the choice will always be very important. The choice will be very important. Okay, we have 7 sec theta equals to 5 plus our 3 tan squared of theta, or here our range, since I've noticed that the negatives are disturbing us, allow me that I put the negatives as well, such that we can be able to master them very well. So that is going to be. So I want each one of us to first try out. But I want you now to know which identity am I going to use. Go back to those identities that still I have sine squared theta plus cos squared theta is equal to 1. Now, in case I'm interested in obtaining my tan, what am I going to do? When I divide by cos squared theta, divide by cos squared theta, divide by cos squared theta. Here I'll get my tan squared theta plus 1 is equal to sec squared theta. Now this is the identity we are going to use. Can everyone first take a step? Substitute for your tan squared theta. Know what is tan squared theta equaling to, and then substitute it here, such that you can be able to write it in terms of sec squared theta. So can we first try out up to when you form your quadratic equation that is solved? When you reach there, put it for us in the chat. So continue. Okay, Jonah has got that. Okay. Okay. Joshua. Okay. Continue, members. Continue. In case you feel stuck, you can raise up the hand. Okay, Umar. Okay. Mm. Yes, Poleman.
Teacher, may I wanted to take us through it.
Oh, okay. We are still waiting for people to try out. First, try it out, and then we shall base on what members are getting in the chat. But you can leave your microphone, okay? And then we see what people are getting. But you are going to first take us through just the first step. So take us through that first step to see where we are.
Okay, teacher, we shall have 7 sec theta is equaling to 5 plus 3 into sec squared theta minus 1.
Okay.
So 7 sec theta is equaling to 5 plus 3 sec squared theta minus 3. So we are going to take the right hand side to the left hand side. So we shall have 3 sec squared theta minus 7 sec squared theta plus 7 sec squared theta plus 2 is equaling to 0.
I thought the sec, remember it's on the left hand side and it's a positive. So when it's crossing an equal sign, it changes to a negative. But according to what you have put, I'm saying, is it?
Yeah, you are right. You are right. The person in background. Is it in background?
I had forgotten to give you the negative 3 sec squared theta.
Okay, okay. Now you have two things. Now this one is one, this is one version. But another person who has taken it this side then would have had it like sec squared theta minus 7 sec theta then plus 2 equals to 0. So in case you have any of those, everything is correct. So members, continue now and solve.
Okay.
Lisa, can you check out? Yes, come again.
Okay, I don't know if you could help me be elaborate on how to know the best way of solving, because I'm not seeing the common factors, but I wanted to use factorization for
The
this.
common what?
How do they say? That thing for
Like, yeah,
product.
you are not seeing. What is your A?
My A is 3.
Your B?
My B is -7.
Your C?
My C is 2.
Then what is your sum?
Is it -7?
Okay. Then what is your product?
2.
Your product is always A times C.
A times my product is 6.
So you look at the factors of 6. Any two numbers you can multiply to get 6?
2 and 3.
2 and 3. Any other pair?
1 and 6.
1 and 6. Okay, we can stop there. Then you ask, when you multiply 2 times 3, you get 6. When you add them, can you get 7?
No.
We go to the second pair. When you multiply, you get 6. When you add them, can you get 7?
Yes.
But you want to negative 7. So what can you add on these factors?
Negative.
Are you not seeing that you are going to add them as negative?
Okay. Thank you, sir. It now comes out.
Okay, continue. Yes, Kutesa. Members, continue now. Kutesa.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
If we get a -1 and -6 as our sum, the ones which we are going to substitute, So when we multiply, what of when we use bulldozer?
It is okay. Whatever approach you use, you'll get there.
Okay.
Okay. David?
Morning, sir.
Morning.
So I was asking if there could be a different approach whereby we could substitute for sec theta into root of 1 plus tan squared theta.
Come again?
I was asking whether there could be another approach whereby we could substitute the sec theta into root of 1 plus tan squared theta.
Yeah, you can use that approach. There is no problem.
Okay.
But now you need now to know how to square roots and the rest of that.
Okay, sir. Teacher, when I use bulldozer, I get 2 and 0.33.
And like I remember telling you that always avoid getting points. At least write it as a whole number or a fraction, and then you can proceed.
Is 1/3.
Yeah. Okay. People are
So
getting 2 and 1 out of 3. So for me, I'm waiting for the angles. I'm waiting now for the angles. Members have got their sec theta as 2 out of 3 and 2 and 1 out of 3. Okay, 2 and 1 out of 3. So continue, get the angles now. Continue. People are getting a third and also people are getting 2. So continue and get. I'm just responding to a few questions. Yes, Kutesa? Just responding to questions in case you feel stuck. Daniela, Kutesa, okay?
Teacher, for after getting the sum and product, that part of putting the sum and the product is still disturbing me.
Are you seeing here, Daniela? Here. These values you have got here, just add a sec theta, add a sec theta. Then just place them here. Then you say 3 sec squared theta minus sec theta minus 6 sec theta minus plus 2 is equal to 0. Just replace them where there is negative 7 sec. Have you got? Not yet.
Tiramisu.
Replace them here where there is negative 7 sec. Is why you replace those two values you have got, that this is the negative 1, this is the negative 6.
Okay, thank you, teacher.
Okay. Okay. So get the angles, Renata is getting 60, 300, negative 60, negative 300. Okay. Negative 60, 60. Umar is getting many. Yes, I have said that avoid using quadratic words. The calculator can help you to prove, but it's not a method of working. They cannot award you a method mark that you have used the calculator. Let use it just for prove your answer. Just use it that the quadratic answer you have got, it is okay. Now, mhm. Yes, Polyman.
Teacher, for the theta, I got the 60, 300, negative 60, negative 300. Then, for when we use a third, we get it as undefined. So, do I write it as undefined, or I leave the angles which I got?
When you use what? A third.
When I use a third, I find that it's undefined.
For
cos theta.
Oh, it is okay. Yeah, because remember we said that cos has a maximum of 1. So anything above 1, you'll never get an answer. Yeah.
Even if I don't put it.
Yes, it is okay. Sec is 1 out of cos. So I expect that members have cos of theta is equal to a half. Then you get the angles. So the angles I'm seeing in the chart are correct. Negative 60, negative 300, 360. Those angles are very okay. Those angles are very okay. Okay, unless someone has a question. Yes, as required.
Okay, teacher, I just wanted to also tell you my angles.
Okay.
So I tried thinking, I have what? Negative 300 degrees, negative 289.4.
Where did you get that one?
Okay, from remember that one of what? Sec theta is equal to a third.
Remember sec theta, if you look at sec theta is equal to a third, is equal to a third. This is 1 out of cos is equal to a third. When you take the reciprocal, it means cos theta is equal to 3. But when you place cos inverse of 3, it can never give you an answer because the maximum ratio for a cos is 1, even for sine. So here you cannot get any answer.
Okay.
You place your calc, it will give you an error. What did you get?
In just a minute. Math error.
Yes. Unless maybe when you made a mistake and you placed the third.
I think I used a 3, not a third.
Oh. Is it fine now?
Yes, teacher, we can continue.
Okay. Okay. Now allow me to give you numbers that you are going to try out. Now these are the numbers you are going to try out. Number 1, it's going to be 2 cot squared theta plus 8 is equal to 7 cosec of theta. That's 1. Number 2 is going to be sec squared theta plus 1 equaling to 3 tan of theta. Number 3 is going to be 7 tan theta plus cot theta is equal to 5 sec of theta. Now, I think this is where you need now to first convert all these things in the same thing. Here for 0 degrees less or equal to theta less or equal to 180 degrees. Here we can use 0 degrees less or equal to theta less or equal to 360, and here we shall use negative 360 less or equal to theta, less or equal to 360. Now for this one, since you want to prove always your answers, you will check out, it will be 19.5, 30, 160.5, 150. Then for this, your answer will be in around 63.4, 243.4, 45, and 225, something like that. Then for the first one of this is what? 3 cot squared plus, that is what? 8. Here, you'll have, the answers here will be many. The answers will be many, but let me give you the positive ones. But you'll have like 30, 150. These are the positive angles. 41.8, 138.2. Those are the positive ones. Then when it comes to the negative ones, we shall have, give me a minute. When it comes to the negative ones, that is what? 360. You'll have the negative this. Then you'll have negative 210. You'll have which one? You are going to have another one, that is what? 41.8. You'll have negative 318.2. You'll have that is 138. Okay. Done. You have where? Here negative 221.8 degrees. Hope you are finished. I'm going to erase. Those are the ones you are supposed to have. Take a screenshot before I remove. Hope members have taken a screenshot. In case you have not, yeah, I've erased. Then let me give you also another scenario here where come here. Take a screenshot of that scenario as well. That is the scenario you're going to try out. Then you're going to give me some 3 minutes. 3 minutes. I then display, I give you the answers you are supposed to get for the numbers you did yesterday. Hope you have taken a screenshot. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm stopping to share, and then I first check out I want to give you the answers for yesterday. First give me some minutes. First give me some minutes as I get there. Okay. Add me more time. I'm getting there. It's right. You're going to allow me, I'm going to add you more numbers. Let me first sort everything out. As I add you more numbers, you're going to try out for your practice. Yeah. Okay, let me share again. Let me share again. Just give me a minute to.
Ngarmala woni.
Okay, I'm sharing. Now, yesterday, the exercise you had was from number 5 up to number 9. So you first take a screenshot, those who didn't have it. That was the exercise. And what answers were you supposed to have? Here we go. Take a screenshot of those answers. Now, in case you find that you got all correct, kindly take for us a photo of your work. You can scan and then we can share with the rest to check out. But even if, I know you may not have done everything, but even if, as long as at least you got everything correct for whatever thing you did, you share with us such that members can have a look at how to get there. Okay, now today, I've just added you more few. Take a screenshot of this. You will also try out in your free time when you get time. Okay. Yeah. Now let me take on a question from Share and then Bin, and then we can end here. Yes, Share Bin?
Yes, I was asking if there was a recording for yesterday's lesson.
Yes, it is available on YouTube.
So I just go to your YouTube channel or I go to the group.
A YouTube channel, it is there, Holistic E-Learning Platform.
Even this one, sir, this lesson.
Yes, even this lesson will be there after 2 hours. No, after 1 hour from now.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Teacher, I
Okay.
have an inquiry.
Yes.
Yesterday you told us that we check your YouTube channel for partial fractions, but when I tried, I didn't get your exact lesson. I got some other lessons. I don't know if you could, if you don't mind, maybe you could tell me the name, like what should I type when I go to YouTube to get that
Okay.
video?
No, you'll not find my name. I don't know what you checked. You'll not find my name for, but you just check, it's called Holistic E-Learning Platform. Let me, just go to this channel If you just type holistic e-learning platform, then you come under the playlists. Then you'll find that partial fractions there. Yeah, it is somewhere. It is here.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Teacher, I also have another inquiry.
Yes.
I have a sister in Form 4. So I was inquiring if maybe there are Form 4 lessons that are being held maybe